The Zephyrian patrol vessel. Stellar wind moved slowly through the empty space at the edge of Andromeda Alliance territory. Commander Layla Roberts sat in her command chair watching the stars pass by on the main view screen. This was her 5th patrol. This month, and like all the others, it had been uneventful. Commander Roberts, we have an unknown contact appearing on long-range scanners. Lieutenant Tina Summers called from her station, her fingers moving quickly over the control panel. Show me, Roberts ordered, leaning forward in her chair. The main screen changed to show a massive ship moving steadily through space. Its design was unlike anything in Alliance records, dark and angular with multiple weapon ports visible along its hull run it through. The database Roberts ordered, her heart beating faster. This far-out unknown contacts were rare and potentially dangerous. Lieutenant Summers worked for several moments before looking up with confusion. There is no match, Commander. But there are symbols. On the hull I can enhance them. She tapped several controls. The screen zoomed in on strange markings along the side of the vessel. Those are Earth symbols, Summers said with surprise. Humans. This is a human ship. The bridge went silent. Everyone knew about humans. They were a violent species confined to their solar system by Galactic Containment Protocol 347b, after they had displayed shocking war capabilities during the Mars Rebellion. 10 years ago, humans were considered too dangerous for free galactic travel. How did they get this far out? Roberts wondered aloud. The containment was supposed to be absolute. Lieutenant, open a communication channel, Roberts ordered. Standard first contact protocols. Channel open, Summers confirmed. This is Commander Layla Roberts of the Andromeda Alliance vessel. Stellar wind. You have entered restricted space. Please identify yourselves and state your purpose. The response came after a brief delay. This is Captain Susan Miller of the USS Defiant Earth, Defense Force. We are on a diplomatic mission to establish relations with the Andromeda Alliance. Roberts frowned. Diplomatic mission. There had been no notice of any diplomatic mission involving humans. The Alliance Council would have informed all patrol commanders if the containment protocol had been lifted. Captain Miller, you are in violation of Containment Protocol 347b. Your vessel must power down weapons and prepare to be escorted back to Sol system boundaries, Roberts said, keeping her voice firm but calm. There was a longer pause before the response came back. This time the human captain's voice had an edge to it. Commander Roberts, we have no knowledge of any containment protocol. Our mission is authorized by Earth Central Command. We will not power down our defensive systems while in unknown space. Roberts looked to her second-in-command, Commander Rita Bell, who shook her head slightly. They don't know. Roberts realized the humans had never been told they were being contained. They thought they were free to explore. Captain Miller, I must insist you will power down weapons and prepare for boarding, or we will be forced to take defensive action, Roberts said. She didn't want conflict, but protocol was clear. The human ship remained silent for several moments, then Roberts saw the weapon ports on the massive vessel begin to glow with energy. They are charging weapons, Summers called out. Defensive shields. Up, Roberts made a split-second decision. Fire a warning shot across there. Bow, standard Alliance protocol for first contact situations. The stellar wind released a short burst of energy that passed in front of the human vessel. Not close enough to cause damage, but close enough to be seen as a warning. What the Zephyrians did not understand was the human concept of proportional response. In human military doctrine, a warning shot was not a warning. It was the first strike in a war. The USS Defiant reacted immediately. Its weapons, fully charged, released a blast of energy that struck the stellar wind directly. The Alliance ship shields flared bright blue under the impact. Return fire, Roberts ordered. Shield at 70%. The stellar wind fired its main weapons. The shots connected with the human ship, but seemed to do little damage. The human vessel fired again. This time the energy beam was more focused and more powerful. It cut through the weakened shields of the stellar wind and sliced into the hull. The patrol ship shuddered. Multiple hull breaches. Summers called emergency systems activating. The Defiant fired a third time. The beam struck the engine section of the stellar wind. The patrol ship began to break apart. Commander Roberts knew they had only moments. Send emergency transmission to Alliance. Command, she ordered. Priority 1. Include all sensor data on the human vessel transmission sent. Summers confirmed as the bridge filled with smoke and warning alarms. The final shot from the Defiant hit the stellar wind's core. The patrol vessel exploded, in a burst of light and energy, leaving nothing but debris floating in the empty space. On the bridge of the USS Defiant, Captain Susan Miller watched the destruction with a grim expression. "They fired first?" she said quietly. She turned to her communications. "Officer, send a message to Earth Central Command. Inform them. We have engaged in defensive action against an alien vessel that fired upon us. Request instructions." "Yes, Captain." The officer responded. Miller turned to her second-in-command. "What do you make of this, Amanda, Commander?" Amanda Boyd shook her head. "This doesn't make sense, Captain. They mentioned a containment protocol. Do you think Earth has been deliberately isolated?" Miller considered this. The thought had occurred to her as well. If true, it would change everything humans believed about their place in the galaxy. Scan the area for any other vessels, Miller ordered, and prepare a complete analysis of their weapon signature. We need to know what we're up against. As the Defiant continued on its course, the debris of the stellar wind drifted silently in space. The emergency transmission had already reached its destination. The first conflict between humans and the Andromeda Alliance had begun with a tragic misunderstanding in the Command Center of Alliance Defense Station Proxima. The emergency message from the stellar wind played. Commander Vex listened with growing alarm as the message ended. He turned to his staff. "Alert all Alliance vessels," he ordered. "Inform the Council. The human containment has failed. Prepare the defense fleet. The humans are coming across Alliance space." The warning spread. Patrol ships were redirected. Defense stations went to high alert. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, the first human battleships were already on their way. Their mission had changed from diplomacy to war. A routine patrol had intercepted a human battleship. Now the galaxy was on fire. 3 days after the destruction of the Stellar Wind Alliance diplomatic envoy, Kate Harrison stood before the Galactic Council on Nexus Prime. The Grand Chamber was filled with representatives from 27 different species, all watching her, with expressions ranging from concern to outright hostility. The human ship acted in what they believed was self-defense. Harrison explained. Her voice echoed in the large chamber. Their military protocols dictate an immediate response to hostile action. High Chancellor Vexteler rose from his seat, his tall, slender form towering over the other council members. His skin rippled with color, showing his anger. This is precisely why humanity was contained. Their barbaric response to a standard warning procedure demonstrates their unfitness for galactic society. Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. Harrison knew she was losing ground. The Alliance had kept humanity contained for decades, believing them too violent for integration into galactic society. But she also knew there was more to the story. With respect, Chancellor, the humans were never informed of the containment. Harrison countered. They believed themselves free to explore. They interpreted the warning shot as an act of aggression. Another council member spoke up, Diplomat Zora of the Pleiadian Consortium. If they were not informed, then how did they develop the technology to breach our containment field? The Sol system barrier was designed to be impenetrable. Harrison had been wondering the same thing. The containment field around human space should have prevented any ship from leaving, yet somehow the Defiant had passed through. Either the field had failed, or the humans had developed technology capable of bypassing it. Neither option was comforting. Before Harrison could respond, the chamber doors burst open. A junior diplomat rushed in. Council members, we have received multiple reports. Human vessels have been detected in 7 different sectors of Alliance space. They appear to be a coordinated fleet. The chamber erupted in chaos. Chancellor Vextaler raised his hands for silence. This is no longer a diplomatic incident, he announced. This is an invasion. Activate all defense protocols. The human threat must be contained. Harrison watched with growing dread as the council members quickly voted to approve military action against humanity. The conflict was escalating faster than she had feared. What none of them knew was that the USS Defiant had not been acting alone. It was the vanguard of humanity's carefully planned emergence onto the galactic stage, a plan decades in the making. While the Andromeda Alliance had believed humans confined to their solar system, Earth had been building a fleet and developing technologies reversed engineered from a crashed alien vessel discovered beneath the Pacific Ocean in 2189, a secure bunker deep beneath Pentagon Prime in New Washington. Fleet Admiral Nancy Foster received the encrypted transmission from the EOR. Defiant first contact has gone exactly as predicted, Admiral Captain Miller reported. The Alliance fired first. We have justification for Operation Sunbreak. Foster nodded to her staff officers gathered around the holographic display showing the positions of Earth Defense Force vessels. She had been preparing for this moment for 15 years. Ever since scientists had discovered the truth about the barrier surrounding Earth space, the barrier was not a natural phenomenon. It had been created deliberately to keep humanity isolated. The question that had driven Earth's military development was simple. Why would an advanced alien civilization want to keep humans contained? Execute Phase 2. Foster ordered, her voice calm despite the significance of the command across human-controlled space. 57 battleships of the Earth Defense Force powered up their engines and began their carefully plotted jumps toward Alliance space. The ships were equipped with technology that the Alliance believed impossible for humans to possess, void core drives capable of bending space itself, allowing the fleet to bypass the containment barrier entirely. On the bridge of the EDF Valor, Captain Penny Grant watched her crew prepare for jump. She had trained her entire career for this moment. Navigation set course for Proxima Station, she ordered. That was their first target, an Alliance military installation that served as the control center for the barrier around Earth space. Take it out, and the rest of the human fleet would be able to follow. The Valor disappeared in a flash of blue light, followed by 5 other battleships. The invasion force was on its way, back on Nexus Prime. Kate Harrison slipped away from the council chamber. As the only human diplomat on the planet, she knew her position was now precarious. She made her way to her secure quarters and activated her hidden communication device. Earth Command, this is Envoy Harrison. The Council has declared military action. The diplomatic option has failed. The response came immediately. Understood, Envoy Harrison. Proceed to Extraction Point Delta. Prepare for Phase 3. Harrison gathered her few personal items. She had served as a diplomat for 7 years, building relationships with Alliance members. All of that was over now. She had a new role to play as Harrison left her quarters. Alliance security officers were already on their way to detain her. She had minutes at most to reach the extraction point at Proxima Station. Alliance Commander Ava Chen was reviewing the day reports when alarms began to sound across the command center. Unidentified vessels approaching. Commander, multiple signatures, huge energy readings. The sensor officer reported. Chen moved quickly to the main display. 6 ships had appeared from nowhere. Their design was unlike anything in Alliance records. Their energy signatures were off the scale. Open communication channels, Chen ordered. Unidentified vessels. This is Alliance Proxima Station. You have entered restricted space. Identify yourselves. The response came in clear Alliance standard language. This is Captain Penny Grant of the Earth Defense Force vessel, Valor. You are holding our people against their will. We are here to dismantle the containment barrier. Stand down and no harm will come to your personnel. Chen felt cold fear grip her heart. Humans here at Proxima, the containment had completely failed. Activate defense grid, she ordered. Alert Alliance Command. Before the station could power up, its weapons the human vessels fired. Not at the station itself, but at specific points around it. Precision strikes that targeted the barrier projection systems. The humans know exactly where to hit. Chen realized with shock. They know the station's layout. They know about the barrier status report, she demanded. Barrier control systems critically damaged, officer reported. Containment field is collapsing. The humans will be free. Chen made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. Initiate Protocol Omega-7, she ordered. The command staff looked at her with surprise. Protocol Omega-7 was the absolute last resort. It would destroy the station and everything around it, including all 6 human ships. Security officer, verify. Command authorization. The computer requested. Chen placed her hand on the scanner and spoke clearly. Commander Eva Chen authorization, Omega 7, Proxima, 932. Authorization confirmed. The computer acknowledged Omega protocol initiating detonation. In 3 minutes, evacuate all personnel, Chen ordered. Get to the escape pods. As Alliance personnel rushed to evacuate, Captain Grant on the Valor received an urgent message from her tactical officer. Captain, they are initiating a self-destruct sequence. Energy buildup in the station's core, massive destructive potential. Grant nodded. This was expected in their planning. We have 2 minutes to complete our mission and get clear. Target remaining barrier nodes. Fire when ready. The Valor and its sister ships continued their precision strikes, methodically destroying the systems that had kept humanity caged for decades on Nexus Prime. Kate Harrison reached the extraction point, a small maintenance bay on the lower levels of the diplomatic tower. A human operative disguised as an Alliance worker waited for her. We're out of time, he said. The Council has ordered all humans detained. Follow me. They moved through service corridors, avoiding security patrols, until they reached a small shuttle bay. This isn't going to be noticed, Harrison asked, looking at the shuttle. For about 30 seconds, the operative replied. Then every alarm on this planet will go off. But by then, well, be gone. Harrison boarded the shuttle as the operative prepared for launch. She thought about what was coming. The Alliance had contained humanity out of fear. Now that fear would become reality. At Proxima Station, the final seconds counted down. Commander Chen was the last to board an escape pod. As her pod launched, she watched through the small viewport as the human ships completed their attack on the barrier nodes. Then, in a flash of blue light, they vanished. The station exploded moments later, a massive shockwave spreading outward. But it was too late. The deed was done. The barrier had fallen. Across human space, the news spread. The containment was broken. The fleet was free. The stars that had been denied to humanity for so long were now within reach in the war room on Earth. Admiral Foster received the confirmation. Proxima Station neutralized. Captain Grant reported barrier control destroyed. We took minimal damage. All ships returning to rendezvous point. Foster allowed herself a small smile. Phase 2 complete, she announced to her staff. Prepare for Phase 3 on A. Screen behind her, the positions of all 57 Earth battleships were displayed. They were moving into position around key Alliance installations. Within days, the balance of power in the galaxy would shift forever. The fire was spreading and humanity was holding the match. The Andromeda Alliance had always considered itself the technological superior of any potential adversary. Their quantum fold drive had been the pinnacle of propulsion technology for over 3 centuries, and their photon lance weaponry was unmatched in destructive capability, or so they believed. What they couldn't know was that humanity had developed something far more terrifying during their isolation. The Void Core on, the bridge of the human battleship. Relentless Dawn Commander Amy Wilson watched as her ship dropped out of hyperspace directly behind the Alliance defense fleet orbiting Xerxes Station, the most important military installation in the sector. They haven't detected us yet, Tactical Officer Lisa Morgan reported. Their sensors are still calibrated to conventional drive signatures. The Void Core is working perfectly. The Void Core was humanity's greatest achievement and most closely guarded secret. A propulsion and weapon system that utilized the energy of artificially created micro-singularities. It allowed human ships to travel faster than any Alliance vessel, remain virtually undetectable, and wield weaponry capable of tearing reality itself. All ships in formation. Commander Wilson confirmed. Commence Operation Phantasm. Across. The Alliance defense perimeter sensors suddenly screamed to life as 30 human battleships materialized around them. Before the Alliance fleet could respond, pinpoint void strikes disabled their engines and weapon systems without destroying a single vessel. The human tactic was brilliant and terrifying. They didn't want to destroy the Alliance, they wanted to expose its vulnerability. Within 18 hours, humanity had neutralized 7 critical Alliance defense installations without a single casualty on either side. On Xerxes Station, Alliance Admiral Laura Krev watched in horror as her fleet was disabled. ship by ship. The human vessels moved with impossible speed and precision. How are they doing this? She demanded. I've never seen technology like this. Her tactical officer shook his head in disbelief. They are creating micro-wormholes somehow. Targeted spatial distortions that disable systems without destroying the ships. It's like nothing we've ever encountered. A communication request flashed on the main screen. Admiral Krev hesitated, then nodded. Accept the transmission. The screen displayed a human woman in a dark blue uniform with gold insignia on the collar. This is Commander Amy Wilson of the Earth Defense Force vessel, Relentless Dawn. Your fleet has been neutralized. Your station defenses have been disabled. You will surrender the station or we will be forced to take further action. Krev stared at the human commander. You can't possibly expect me to surrender the most important Alliance installation in this sector. Commander Wilson remained calm. I do expect exactly that, Admiral. You have seen what our technology can do. We could have destroyed your fleet. We chose not to. We don't want unnecessary casualties. What we want is information. Information. Krev was confused. What information? Why was humanity contained? Wilson asked simply. Why were we imprisoned in our own solar system without our knowledge? Krev hesitated. That information is classified at the highest levels, she said. Even I don't have full access. Wilson nodded as if she had expected this response. Then we will find it ourselves, she said. The transmission ended. Aboard the Relentless Dawn. Wilson turned to her second-in-command. Begin the boarding. Operation Lieutenant Baker. Minimal force, yes, Commander Baker replied. Teams are ready. Across the void between ships, small craft launched from the human vessels. Each carried 20 soldiers in advanced combat armor. Their mission was to secure the station and access its central database on Earth. Admiral Foster received the reports from the front lines. Operation Phantasm was proceeding exactly as planned. 7 Alliance installations neutralized without destruction. Minimal casualties on both sides. The message being sent was clear. Humanity could have annihilated the Alliance forces, but chose precision instead. This was a calculated strategy. The goal wasn't to destroy the Alliance, but to force them to reveal why humanity had been contained. The truth had to exist somewhere in Alliance Records Envoy. Harrison had arrived back on Earth and was now in Foster's command center. She had spent years studying Alliance culture and politics. The containment had to be authorized at the highest levels. Harrison explained, the full truth will only be found in the Nexus Prime archives, or in the personal records of the High Chancellor. Foster nodded. This is about more than revenge or freedom, she said. This is about truth. The people of Earth deserve to know why we were caged. Harrison agreed. But she also had concerns. The Alliance isn't evil, Admiral. They must have had a reason. We need to consider the possibility that the containment was implemented for a purpose, beyond simple fear of human aggression. And Xerxes Station. The human boarding parties had secured the command center. Admiral Krev and her staff were detained, but treated with respect. Lieutenant Kelly Baker accessed the station database. The classification levels are impressive, she reported to Commander Wilson. Most of the information about Earth is locked behind security protocols that will take time to crack. Wilson nodded. Take all the data. We can analyze it later. What about the Admiral? Has she provided any useful information? Baker shook her head. She maintains she doesn't know the full story behind the containment, only that the order came directly from the Galactic Council 25 years ago. Wilson considered this. 25 years. That was around the time of the first official contact between Earth and alien life. When the Zephyrian scout ship crash-landed in the Pacific Ocean, the same ship that had provided humanity with the technological insights that eventually led to the Void Core. There has to be a connection, she thought. Throughout Alliance space, the pattern repeated. Human ships appeared without warning, disabled Alliance defenses, and demanded information. The precision and restraint shown by the human forces confused the Alliance military leadership. They had expected brutality and destruction. Instead, they faced an enemy that seemed more interested in accessing databases than conquering territory. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council was in emergency session. The humans have disabled 7 major Installations. High Chancellor Vextaler announced they have captured Xerxes Station and are advancing toward the Epsilon cluster. We must mobilize the Grand Fleet diplomat. Zora spoke up. The reports indicate the humans are not destroying our ships or stations. They are disabling them and searching our databases. What are they looking for? Vextaler exchanged glances with the inner council members. The oldest and most powerful representatives in the chamber. They knew the truth about the containment. The humans are a dangerous species, Vextaler said carefully. Their containment was necessary for galactic security. But why keep them ignorant of the containment? Diplomat Mira of the Arcadian Confederation asked. Would it not have been more ethical to explain the reasons? Vextaler shook his head. The containment was designed to be permanent. The humans were never supposed to break free. They were never supposed to develop technology advanced enough to bypass the barrier. The fact that they have is disturbing proof of their ingenuity and dangerous potential. The council chamber doors opened and a security officer rushed in. Chancellor, we have reports of a human fleet approaching Nexus Prime. 6 battleships. They will arrive. Within the hour, Vextaler stood up quickly. Activate all planetary defenses. Alert the home fleet. Nexus Prime must not fall. As the council members rushed to evacuate the ancient diplomat, Zortal remained seated. The oldest member of the council, he had been present when the original containment decision was made. We should tell them, he said quietly. They deserve to know the truth. Vextaler turned to him. That truth would cause panic across the galaxy. Perhaps, Zortal replied. But lies have brought us to this point. The humans have proven themselves more resourceful than we anticipated. They will discover the truth eventually. Would it not be better coming from us, in orbit around Earth? Admiral Foster received an unexpected communication request. Admiral, it's from Nexus Prime, her communications officer reported. From someone claiming to be an inner council member. Foster was suspicious but curious. Accept the transmission, she ordered. The screen displayed an ancient alien face, wrinkled and pale, with eyes that spoke of centuries of wisdom. I am Diplomat Zortal of the Inner Council. He said I wish to speak with the human leadership about the true reason for the containment. Foster leaned forward. The truth, that is exactly what we seek, Zortal nodded. There is much you do not know, Admiral. Much that was hidden from your people for what we believed was the greater good. I propose a meeting on neutral ground. I will bring the containment files. The full truth. Why should we trust you? Foster asked. You shouldn't, Zortal replied. But you want answers, and I am offering them. Consider this. The containment was never meant to punish humanity. It was meant to protect you from something far worse than isolation. The transmission ended, leaving Foster with more questions than answers. She turned to Harrison. What do you think? Is this a trap? Harrison considered carefully. Zor. Tal is the oldest member of the council. His influence predates the containment. If anyone knows the full truth, it would be him. Foster made her decision. Prepare my shuttle, she ordered. Contact Commander Wilson. Tell her to secure a meeting location. The galaxy was indeed on fire, but perhaps from those flames the truth would finally emerge. The neutral meeting ground was an abandoned mining station in the Cygnus Void, a region of space claimed by neither humanity nor the Alliance. Admiral Foster arrived with a small security team and envoy Harrison. The human battleship Valiant stood, guard nearby, its void core systems on standby, ready to extract the human delegation if needed. Diplomat Zortal arrived in a small Alliance shuttle accompanied by only 2 assistants. He carried an old-fashioned data crystal in his wrinkled hand. Foster watched the ancient alien carefully. We came for the truth, she said. No more games, no more containment, Zor. Tal nodded slowly, his large eyes blinking in the station's dim light. What I am about to share with you has been kept secret from most of the Alliance, not just humanity, he said. Only the Inner Council knows the full truth. He placed the data crystal on the table between them. Harrison activated a scanning device, checking for weapons or traps. The crystal was clean. She nodded to Foster. Play it, Foster ordered. A holographic display appeared above the crystal, showing star charts and strange energy readings. The recording began with a date 27 years ago. Exploration vessel Lumina detected anomalous energy patterns at the edge of the Andromeda sector. A voice-narrated investigation revealed artificial structures of unknown origin dormant, but showing signs of reactivation. The structures predated all known galactic civilizations by at least 2 million years. The hologram shifted to show massive ring-shaped constructions floating in the void of space. Further investigation triggered automated defense systems, resulting in the loss of the Lumina and all hands. A second voice continued. However, before destruction, the Lumina transmitted detailed scans. The structures appear to be a warning system, an ancient alarm designed to alert something to the presence of advanced technological civilizations. Foster and Harrison exchanged glances. The recording continued. 6 months later, long-range sensors detected movement at the galactic rim, energy signatures matching no known technology. A coordinated swarm of artificial constructs moving toward populated space. The harvesters, the hologram showed thousands of mechanical entities moving in perfect formation, their design unlike anything Foster had ever seen. Based on recovered archives from extinct civilizations, we learned the truth. A third voice explained. The harvesters are an ancient machine intelligence. They appear every 50,000 years to eliminate advanced civilizations. They are drawn to specific energy signatures, particularly quantum technology and artificial intelligence. The more advanced a species becomes, the more visible they are to the harvesters. Zor-Tal paused the recording. The council was faced with a terrible choice, he explained. The harvesters were coming. Nothing could stop them, but they could be misdirected. They follow energy signatures. If certain signatures were reduced or contained, perhaps the harvesters would pass by our region of space. The grand deception plan was implemented. The recording continued. All member species of the Alliance would reduce their quantum technology usage. Certain species, particularly those showing rapid technological advancement, would be contained. Their development artificially slowed to avoid detection. That was us. Foster said, her voice tight with anger. You kept us in the dark. Literally. Zor-Tal nodded. You were not the only. 117 species across the galaxy were contained. The most promising, the most innovative, those showing the greatest potential for quantum and AI advancement. Harrison leaned forward. Why not just tell us? Help us prepare. Zor-Tal looked sadmass. Panic would have resulted, he said. Many species would have accelerated their weapons development, making them more visible to the harvesters. And there was another reason: the containment was never meant to be permanent. Once the harvesters passed through our region of space, the barriers would have been lifted. All contained species would have been welcomed into the Alliance with full knowledge and technology sharing. But something went wrong. The recording continued. The harvesters changed course 17 years ago. They altered their trajectory toward Sol system. Despite the containment barrier, the human development of nuclear fusion and primitive quantum computing had created a detectable signature. Foster felt cold. The harvesters were coming for Earth specifically. You contained us, but it didn't work. She said. They detected us anyway. Zor-Tal nodded. The Council's mistake was underestimating human ingenuity. You advanced faster than any species we had encountered. Your development, even while contained, was remarkable. Harrison understood now the crash landing of the Zephyrian scout ship. That was deliberate, wasn't it, Zor? Tal looked surprised. You know about that. It wasn't a crash. Harrison said. Earth recovered alien technology from the Pacific Ocean 20 years ago. That technology helped us develop the Void. Zor-Tal shook his head. No. The crash was genuine, but the fact that humans were able to reverse engineer advanced technology from the wreckage, that was unprecedented. Most species would have taken centuries to understand the principles you mastered in decades. The recording showed the current positions of the harvester swarm. They were still far away at the edge of charted space, but they were definitely headed toward human territory. When the Defiant broke through the containment barrier, it created an energy spike. The harvesters changed course again. Now they are coming faster. The recording explained estimated arrival in populated space. 19 standard days. Everyone in the room went silent. 19 days. Is there any way to stop them? Foster asked, her anger giving way to concern. The Alliance has been preparing defenses for 20 years, Zortal said. But our models suggest even our combined fleets would not be enough. Then why tell us this? Now? Harrison asked. If it's hopeless, Zortal looked directly at Foster. Because you have the Void Core technology, he said. Something we never developed. Something the Harvesters have never encountered. It creates micro-singularities-controlled black holes. This might be the weapon we need. Foster considered this information. So, the containment, the isolation of Earth. It was never about keeping us caged. It was about protecting us from the Harvesters and protecting the galaxy from drawing their attention. Zortal added, yes, the Council believed one planet sacrificed was better than 1,000. Should the Harvesters detect advanced technology, they would cleanse all life in their path. But now they have detected humanity anyway. Foster stood up. I need to report this to Earth Command, she said. We need to verify this information, Zor. Tal handed her the data crystal. Take it, all our research, all our knowledge. Everything we know about the Harvesters humanity deserves to know the truth. As the human delegation prepared to leave, Zortal spoke once more. Admiral, if this information is true, would humanity consider joining forces with the Alliance? Our combined technology might give us a fighting chance. Foster paused. If this is true, then we face extinction. There is only one logical response. We fight together or we die alone. Back aboard the Valiant, Foster contacted Earth, sharing everything she had learned. The response was immediate. A full verification protocol was implemented. Every piece of data analyzed for authenticity. On Earth, Intelligence Officer Diane Harper led the verification team. Her specialty was pattern analysis and data authentication. The data is genuine, she reported to the Earth Defense Council after 12 hours of intensive analysis. The Harvester threat is real and they are coming for us. The council chamber was silent. The truth was almost too much to comprehend. After decades believing they were alone in the universe, humans had discovered not only that they were contained, but that an ancient machine intelligence was coming to destroy them. Council leader Martina Reyes broke the silence. This changes everything. Our war with the Alliance, the containment, none of that matters now. We face extinction. Admiral Foster appeared on the main screen via secure channel. The Alliance is offering partnership, she explained. Their quantum technology combined with our Void Core capabilities might give us a chance. A small one, but a chance nonetheless. Harper spoke up. The Void Core creates controlled singularities. The Harvesters, according to Alliance data, are vulnerable to gravitational distortions. A strategic deployment of Void technology could disrupt their hive mind connection. It was a slim hope, but it was something. Reyes looked around the table at the other council members. Earth has always stood alone, she said. But not this time. Approve the Alliance, she ordered. Tell Admiral Foster to begin joint planning with the Andromeda Alliance. We have 19 days to save not just humanity, but all sentient life in the galaxy. Across Earth space, the human fleet regrouped. Their mission changing from liberation to survival. Battleships that had been disabling Alliance. Installations now rendezvoused with those same Alliance fleets, forming joint battle groups. On Nexus Prime, High Chancellor Vextalar addressed the Galactic Council. The ancient enemy approaches, he announced. The Harvesters will reach populated space. In 19 days, our containment strategy has failed, but in its failure, we have found hope. Humanity has developed technology that might disrupt the Harvester hive mind. I propose an immediate alliance with Earth, combining our forces and technology against this threat. The Council voted unanimously in favor. The longest-standing conflict in the galaxy was set aside in the face of extinction. On the bridge of the relentless dawn, Commander Amy Wilson received new orders from Earth Command. Proceed immediately to rendezvous coordinates to join Alliance battle group, the orders read. Prepare for joint operations against Harvester forces. Humanity stands with the Alliance. The combined Human Alliance fleet assembled at the Helios threshold, the narrowest point between the approaching Harvester swarm and inhabited space. 300 ships formed a defensive line that represented the last hope for thousands of civilizations on the bridge of the USS Defiant. Now the command ship of the United Fleet, Captain Susan Miller, stood shoulder to tentacle with High Commander Zexatra. Of the Alliance, all ships reporting ready. Tactical Officer Sam Winters announced, Void cores synchronized, with Alliance quantum networks, weapons harmonized. The plan was audacious. Human void technology had been integrated into Alliance ships, while Alliance quantum fold drives had been adapted for the human fleet. The result was a hybrid technology that could potentially disrupt the Harvester hive mind. We're detecting the first wave, Lieutenant Kelly Grant reported. 9,000 Harvester units energy readings off the scale, Captain. Miller exchanged a look with Commander Zexatra. This is where we find out if our species are better together than apart indeed. Captain, the alien commander replied. Perhaps this fire that now threatens to consume the galaxy will instead forge us into something stronger. The order was given simultaneously in dozens of languages across the United Fleet. Execute Operation Firewall. The Human Alliance ships moved into formation, creating a barrier of energy between the Harvesters and inhabited space. The first wave of Harvesters approached. Their design was unlike anything seen before, smooth black shapes that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. They moved in perfect coordination like a single organism with thousands of bodies. Fire the first salvo, Miller ordered. The Defiant released a controlled burst from its void core, creating a micro-singularity directly in the path of the Harvester formation. The gravity well pulled the lead Harvesters off course, disrupting their perfect formation. Alliance vessels fired quantum beams through the disruption points. The combination of technologies had an unexpected effect. The beams gained power as they passed through the gravity distortions, striking the Harvester units with amplified force. First blood to us, Miller said, watching as dozens of Harvester units went dark, but thousands more were still coming. The battle quickly escalated in intensity. Harvesters adapted their formation, spreading out to minimize the impact of the gravity weapons. Human and Alliance ships coordinated their movements, creating overlapping fields of fire. On Earth, Admiral Foster watched the battle telemetry with growing concern. Despite their initial success, the combined fleet was taking losses. The Harvesters were adapting, learning from each engagement. We need to change tactics, she said to her staff. The singularity disruption is working, but the Harvesters are adapting too quickly. Intelligence Officer Harper approached with a new analysis. The Harvester units appear to be coordinated through quantum entanglement, she explained. They share information instantaneously regardless of distance. If we could create a large enough singularity, we might disrupt the entire network at once. Foster considered this a large-scale void core detonation that would require multiple battleships to combine their cores. The resulting gravitational wave could destroy our fleet as well as the Harvesters. Sometimes the only way to win is to be willing to sacrifice. Harper said Foster made the hardest decision of her career. She opened a channel to the fleet, Captain Miller. This is Admiral Foster. I am authorizing Operation Dark Star. There was a pause before Miller responded. Understood. Admiral. Preparing for Dark Star. The Defiant broke formation, moving toward the center of the battle zone. 5 other human battleships followed, each positioning itself at precise coordinates. Around them, the battle continued, Alliance ships providing covering fire as the human vessels moved into position. Commander Zexatra looked concerned. What is Operation Dark Star, he asked. Miller explained. They were going to combine the power of 6 void cores, creating a massive singularity. The gravitational distortion would be powerful enough to disrupt the Harvester hive mind across the entire swarm, but that would destroy the 6 ships as well, Zexatra said. Miller nodded. Every ship has volunteered. Our crews will evacuate in escape pods, but the ships themselves will be lost. Zexatra was silent for a moment, then spoke. I will assign our fastest vessels to recover your crew. Thank you, Miller said. She turned to her bridge crew. Begin evacuation. All non-essential personnel to escape pods throughout the Defiant and the other 5 ships' crews rushed to evacuation points. Only skeleton crews remained to pilot the vessels. A sense of grim determination filled the air. These ships would be sacrificed, but the knowledge they had gained, the alliance they had formed, those would continue. In the void core chamber of the Defiant, Chief Engineer Laura Martinez made final adjustments to the system. The core hummed with power, its blue light filling the chamber control room. "This is engineering," Martinez reported. "Core is set for synchronized detonation. Remote trigger is active," Miller acknowledged. From the bridge. "Understood, Chief Engineer. Final evacuation in progress." Martinez looked at her engineering team. "The 6 of us need to remain to ensure the core stays stable until detonation." She explained. "Anyone who wants to leave should go now." No, Bond moved. They were staying. They would see this through to the end on. The bridge. Miller received confirmation. "All 6 ships are in position. Core's synchronized evacuation at 98%. Only the bridge crew and engineering teams remained." "Captain, it is time for you to evacuate." Commander Bell said. Miller shook her head. "The captain stays with her ship, Bell. Take the rest of the bridge crew and go." Bell hesitated, then nodded. "Understood. Captain, it has been an honor." As the last escape pods launched, Miller opened a channel to the other 5 ships. "Captains, this is Miller. Final status check one by one." They responded. "Void core primed and ready. Waiting for your command." Miller took a deep breath. "This is for Earth, for the Alliance, for all." Sentient life on the main view screen. The harvester swarm was moving closer. 9,000 units in the first wave, and long-range sensors showed more coming behind them. This was their only chance. She opened a channel to Admiral Foster. "Admiral, the ships are in position. Crews evacuated except for skeleton staff. Void cores synchronized and ready. Request final authorization for Operation Dark Star." The response came immediately. "Authorization granted, Captain. Fire when ready." Miller looked at the tactical display. All escape pods were clear. The Alliance fleet had pulled back to a safe distance. She opened the secure channel to all 6 ships. "Commence Dark Star on my mark." 3, 2, 1 mark. Across 6 human battleships, engineers activated their void cores at precisely the same moment. The cores pulsed with blue energy, the containment fields deliberately failing in a synchronized pattern. In the vacuum of space between the ships, reality itself began to warp. Space curved inward as 6 microsingularities merged into one massive gravitational well. The light from nearby stars bent around it, creating a halo effect. On the bridge of the Defiant, Miller watched the sensors as long as they continued to function. The harvesters nearest to the forming singularity were already being pulled in, unable to escape the gravitational force. "We've got seconds before we lose structural integrity," Miller said to herself. The ship groaned around her metal, straining against forces it was never designed to withstand. The view screen showed the harvester swarm beginning to break formation, for the first time their perfect coordination faltering, the hive mind disrupted by the gravitational waves. It was working. Miller smiled as the bridge began to break apart around her. "For Earth," she whispered as darkness claimed her. The singularity expanded rapidly, pulling in the 6 human battleships and hundreds of harvester units. The gravitational waves rippled outward, disrupting the quantum entanglement that connected the harvester swarm. Throughout the battle zone, harvester units suddenly stopped moving, their coordination broken, their hive mind shattered by forces it had never encountered before. They drifted powerless from the Alliance flagship. Sexatra watched in awe. "They did it," he said quietly. "They sacrificed themselves to save us all." The remaining human and Alliance vessels moved forward, firing on the disabled harvester units. What had seemed like an invincible enemy was now vulnerable. The tide had turned. Admiral Foster received the news with mixed emotions. "Operation Dark Star successful," she announced to the Earth Defense Council. "The harvester swarm has been neutralized. 6 ships lost with minimal crew casualties. The evacuation was largely successful." The council chamber erupted in cheers, but Foster raised her hand for silence. "We won the battle, but not the war," she cautioned. "Long-range sensors show more harvester swarms approaching. They will arrive in months, rather than days. We have time to prepare, but this fight is far from over." On Nexus Prime, High Chancellor Vextaler addressed the Galactic Council. "We have witnessed an unprecedented act of sacrifice," he said. "Humanity has proven itself not just technologically advanced, but morally worthy. The containment was a mistake, one we must now rectify." The Council voted unanimously. The Sol system would be officially recognized as free territory. All containment technology would be dismantled. All Alliance technology would be shared with Earth, and together they would prepare for the next Harvester assault. 2 weeks later, representatives from Earth and the Andromeda Alliance gathered on Nexus Prime. Admiral Foster and Chancellor Vextaler stood before the assembled dignitaries. "Today we formalize what began in battle," Vextalar announced. "The Galactic Concordat, a binding alliance.